Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tommy Zamp, and today we're going to talk about my favorite Led Zeppelin riffs off of Led Zeppelin 1. So, if you're new to my channel, I play guitar and get the lead out. We are a Led Zeppelin tribute band, and we tour all over the country. We do around 130 shows a year, and I make a living playing Led Zeppelin music, and I love it. It's unbelievable. I still can't believe that this is what my gig is. It's pretty awesome. So, with this gig, I've had to dive really in depth into the riffs of Led Zeppelin and the master himself, Mr. Jimmy Page. And my job is to recreate the tone and the riffs as close as humanly possible as it is on the record, but bring it to a live situation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm just using a Bad Cat Cub 440, which is a amazing amplifier. I love it. I actually bought this off of Butch Walker. If you don't know who he is, you should look him up. He's amazing. He's incredible. I'm going to do a video on this. I know I've been talking about it forever, but I'm busy and it's tough to find time to get to things, but it's right there. And I know Bad Cat just released their Cub 5, which I'm really looking forward to checking out at some point in the near future, but I think this amp is incredible. One thing about the first Zeppelin record is everyone associates Jimmy Page with Marshalls, but he actually never played a Marshall on the first album. It wasn't until Zepp 2 that he incorporated that. A lot of the first record was his Supro. I believe it's the Coronado, 59 Coronado. But Supro actually recreated that in a way with their Black Magic. So if you're interested in picking one of those things up, go look up the Black Magic by Supro. That's what I actually have. I use the first one, the one without the reverb, whatever that is. But yeah, I use the head and two 1x12 cabinets as part of my rig. And if you're interested in what I'm actually using live, I did a full rig rundown. You can watch it right here. But yeah, so I run everything in stereo, a Supro and an AC30, and then when we're doing the songs later on, I'll run a Marshall in the orange, which I'm running a 78 JMP 50 watt and an orange Custom Shop 50. And those I use primarily for anything past the first record. There's little things here and there, like I use the Supro and the Vox for Lemon Song and Hot Song for Nowhere, things like that. But primarily it's anything off the first record. It's a Supro Vox. After that, it's the Marshall Orange. But the one thing I wanted to get to is that you'll notice that on the first record, there's not a lot of gain. It's not super heavy saturated, which is a very common misconception. Same thing with a lot of the AC/DC records. If you listen to the AC/DC albums, they're not super gainy. You listen to the actual tone of the guitar, there's a lot of headroom, and that's what makes it feel so boombastic and just bombastic, whatever that word is I'm trying to think of it, but it's not super gainy. And I also find that it fits better in the mix. If you're not super heavy, overdriven, saturated guitar, and it's more tube gain is the crunch that you're getting, I feel like it sits better in the mix, but that's a whole nother topic. So anyway, but today's video is all about Zepp 1, and I wanted to get into some of my favorite riffs. So in no particular order, which is not necessarily true, I'm going to keep my favorite riff for the last one. So stick around to the end and I'll tell you what my favorite riff off of this first record is. But let's have a listen to this right here. Now the beauty of this is when we do this live, Hammond's playing the wah and he does the bow as well. But when I come in, Eddie and I come in on the main guitar riff. And I got a fuzz pedal, a little bender from JHS. Lots of people talking, few of them know. Soul of a woman was created below. You hold in a beautiful sounds like it's got more verb on it. I'm gonna turn some verb on. I'm running everything through the aux box, so just turn the verb up a little bit. See what that sounds like. Just have fun with it. Okay, so the main riff is not that complicated. It's actually, you know, you can play it in different positions. So if you're gonna play it here, like I was in the beginning, you can do it here. One more time, you can do it here. So the reason I'm pointing this out is I'm not saying Jimmy Page played it in all of those positions, but it's good as a musician to learn all the notes on the fretboard and figure out where you can play that riff. What if you're in the middle of the gig and your D string breaks or your A string breaks, you know, and you still need to get through the song? Just knowing where the notes are so you can adjust promptly. It's just a little tip, all right? Let's move on to my next favorite riff. Another bass drum intro. Do you know what it is? There's also a bow section in it. And when we do this live, it's really cool that Eddie and Hammond do the bow together. So there's two bows on stage. Not two, just two bows on stage going nuts. It's really something awesome to watch. So if you haven't seen our show, you should come check it out. But it's how many more times? Again, not a super gainy guitar. A little wah action. So trippy, but vocals coming in. Feel that groove. Okay, so a majority of this song is that riff, and it's... So it's just repeating that, and then there's going to be those hits that come in, and the hits are on D and A. The thing to pay attention to is that the hits are different depending on what part of the song you're in. So the first time it's... And then the second one leading into the breakdown. All right. Then it goes back to the hits that you did in the first one, and then at the end of the song, there's a different way of playing that they go into. It's a see what I mean? So you just got to pay attention to where you're at in the tune, and just know what part comes where. I don't know how else to explain that other than just, don't try and wing it when it comes to Led Zeppelin songs. There's so many little nuances and differences, and I think I would like to think that it was a thought out, very calculated, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. But I also feel like Jimmy Page is just such a master that he just pulled it out on the fly. Like if you listen to I Can't Quit You, Baby, he's a master of knowing when the take is the take. Like there are mistakes. You hear it. He goes to those hits and I Can't Quit You. He does that a measure before John Paul Jones and John Bonham do it, in the middle of the guitar solo. But the guitar solo is so awesome that he kept it. And this was way before there was like, oh, just punch me in here, comp this track and, blend these two together. No. It was like, get the take and move on. And he was a master at that. So anyway, I digress. We were on How Many More Times. That is such a fun song to play. It's such a cool riff. And again, it's not super gainy. It's not oversaturated. I mean, they're not going to be playing, like, you're not going to play death metal on a Supro amp. It's just not going to happen. And that is, I think, a very common misconception with a lot of Zeppelin stuff. Like, everyone just tries to punch the gain all the way through the roof. Like, crank that thing off to 10 and go for it. And it's just not. Listen to it. It's more of a tube saturation breakup than it is like an overdriven sound. You know what I mean? Anyway, moving on to this song. Even though we play this song every single night, I love this song. I've always loved this song. I've always loved the riff. I've always loved the vibe. And it's just, it's so powerful when it kicks in because it hits you and then there's air. And it hits you again and then there's a breath again. And I think that is it's a great way of playing with the dynamics, playing with, people get excited and they're like, oh man, what else is coming? So anyway, you should probably know what I'm talking about at this point, but it's Good Times, Bad Times, and it goes like this. Okay, so let's talk about that riff for a little bit. This riff is not the easiest riff to get at first. So if you're a seasoned player, then this would be not a big deal for you, and you probably already know this. But for beginners, so there's a couple tricks, okay? Let's see. So it starts off, there's a little bit of a slide off. If you listen to it in the beginning, let's see if I can get back to it again. Listen to that riff. So the first hits are just, all right? But then when the vocals come in and the drums, you'll hear a little bit of a slide off. Just pay attention. Here it comes. Did you hear that? And he does that throughout. And the other cool thing is there's a really like minute vibrato that if you listen carefully you'll pick it up. So you're going back and forth between A and a D on your D and G string. So all right, that's the main thing. Once you get that down, there's that pickup, just a triad, like, right? Here's where the vibrato comes in on that C sharp. So listen to it again. Did you hear that? That's so cool. It's little things like that that really stand out to me when I listen to a track. I think it just adds so much character. It makes things like if you played it like this. There's no excitement to it. There's no vibe, you know? It's the same notes, but it's your approach. And that, I think, is also another thing that just Jimmy does so well. Jimmy Page exudes vibe. So in order to recreate that, I try and listen to every little thing that he does. He sprinkles in his little, you know, craziness into every song. And it's things like that. Just a little vibe on that C sharp note changes the whole thing, you know what I mean? So check it out. So if I go, I'm gonna play it right this time. Or if I go like this, there's a difference, and I don't know if you can tell it, but I can tell for sure. And it's actually more difficult to play it super straight. You know, Jimmy Page is he's a sloppy guitar player, and that sloppiness adds to the mojo. You know. Anyway, this is just my 2 cents. If you think I'm crazy, you can let me know in the comments below. But that riff. If you're new to guitar, you should learn that riff. It's classic, man. I told you I was going to save my favorite riff for the end, and this is my favorite track on the whole record. It's my favorite guitar riff on the record, and it's punk rock before punk rock was a thing. It has so much attitude, and one of my favorite versions, you know, this is off of Zep 1, but the song is Communication Breakdown. Now, if you listen to Led Zeppelin's BBC album, the BBC Sessions, yeah, I think that's what it is. Anyway, there's like 2 or 3 different versions of this song that they do, and each one of them is just amazing. They're so different. I mean, one of them, I think he's just got a Marshall just slammed wide open. You know, his solos are just ridiculous. I don't know. It's just such a fun song. It's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds of just pure bah. That's how I feel when I listen to it. It's awesome. So anyway, let's check it out. All right, so here's one thing I want you to pay attention to. When he starts off, he's flying. It's like she's jumping the gun on the click or the metronome that they were using back then. So if you listen, it's also open. When that riff is not it's not palm muted. When he starts off as and then so pay attention to that. Listen. He's flying in the beginning. maybe it's playing a trick on my ear. I don't think so. To me, I think he is just cooking. Just pay attention. I'm going to play along with it. Go to A. B. Riff. So cool. It's so cool. And that is my favorite riff, my favorite song on the whole record. I know that there's a ton of other tunes. I Can't Quit You, Baby, You Shook Me. I love the way the slide follows the melody line on that. But I wanted to do more riff-oriented things today. So that's why I came up with those tunes. So thank you guys very much for checking out my channel. That's going to do it for today's video. And before you go, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe. Please do. It helps me out tremendously, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for all the continued support, guys. I'm going after my next goal of 5,000 subscribers within the next year, so every little bit helps. Let me know in the comments below if you found any of this stuff interesting or if you have any questions about what I talked about. And as always, guys, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I will see you all in the next video.